What do we currently have? And how can we change it? Our national health insurance scheme. Even what we have can work better. Let me give you an example. Have you heard that national health insurance has saved some billions? Have you heard that story?
23,000 goods workers.
Yes. Yes. And they currently have in TSA several billion saved from the scheme over the last 10 years. Am I correct? Transferred to TSA, they have several billions. Okay? If between HMO and the scheme, you have saved more than 60 billion that is currently available. Now, let's look at the provider, healthcare provider. Let's use hospitals, national hospitals. How many civil servants are covered? About 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, totally 3% of the population. Where do federal civil servants live?
Maraba.
Where do they live in terms of states distribution percentage? FCT. At least 60% of federal civil servants are living in the FCT. At least 60%. Have FCT hospitals assessed 60% of the disbursed funds? The one previously disbursed? That's one question we must answer. The one currently on ground that you want to do intervention, okay? Are you intervening to the tune of 60% in FCT hospital? If you remove 60% from 100, the remaining is what? 40%. If you distribute the 40% among all other states, no state has more than 2% of federal civil servants. But if you want to intervene in national hospital, you have to intervene to the tune of 300 million. And you want to intervene in UCH to 300 million. UCH has only UCH workers and University of Ibadan workers and federal civil servants. Equity is what I'm talking about. Because if we were to actually treat this patient at the correct price, we would have mopped up that 60 billion in national hospital and Kokolada. Because the civil servants are there. We would have mopped it up. It won't be available for distribution. Our CT would have been working. Our MRI would have been working. We would have replaced new ones. So there is even no equity in the current. Everybody is just. But I say, let's sit down and think deep. Who is actually taking care of these federal civil servants? Who is on standby for tertiary care for all civil servants or 60% of the civil servants? Whose MRI, CT scan, radiotherapy must be working in case you are referred? It is the hospitals that have CT and have MRI in the FCT. And how many of those hospitals are there in the FCT that have radiotherapy, MRI, and CT scan? How many? I know several have CT. If you have MRI, only National Hospital has radiotherapy in the FCT. So, shouldn't you consider equity in funding or in intervention, or you switch to appropriate tariffs? So that when you refer CS to me, it should not be 55,000. When you know that in a private hospital, the cost of CS is 500,000. Under NHIS is 55,000. So most of the private hospitals are not doing CS or they are enrollees. They refer them to national hospitals. Yes, that is proven by the ES and by audit is proven. Many private hospitals were found guilty because they were referring CS to national hospitals. To the extent that we had to open a second labor ward theater. And we had to open a third special care baby unit. But we are almost running at a loss because the tariffs are unrealistic. If Naira is now 300 and something Naira to $1, which is times at least 2 of what it used to be when those tariffs are fixed, the tariffs should be at least times 2. Not to talk of the HMOs, who were owing 100 and something million, 200 million before these years. And when ES came to speak to us, Committee of CMD, saying we are also part of the problem, I said, no, sir, I beg to differ. I have nothing to gain from NHIS personally as CMD. Okay? There's no reason why I will treat the patient, a fellow civil servant, badly. What you have is the system should be reworked. And I gave him an example of this CS. And he came to the hospital and had the look. But even though there's improvement in tariff payment by the HMOs, I had a meeting with one last week. They are owing us 61 million. They have not paid 1 naira this year.
And
They've collected that money. They've not paid 1 naira this year. They are negotiating the bills we submitted since October last year. The bill we submitted since October last year, they are renegotiating. They are saying, no, you use one code to treat this patient for 3 months. You didn't collect another code. We gave you a code for malaria, and you did CT scan. I said, do you know, are you a doctor? Do you know that fever, cancer can cause fever? Brain cancer, we did CT scan of the brain because we suspected CT scan. Paracancer of a cancer. You treated that malaria in the general hospital, it didn't go. You refer to us as malaria. How do you think it's malaria? And you are now saying you will not pay for the CT. These are the arguments that go on for 6 months, and they'll be owing you so much on what you have already done. And I said to them, these disputed bills, I said to the young people that I said, do you believe that we did those things? Have you come to check the case law? This we know you did that because you have no reason, you have no personal gain. It doesn't increase your salary. And we have checked case laws at times. We know you did those things, but you did them wrongly. You didn't obtain code, or you overused the code. I said, oh, so you want us to lose 61 million? Even though you know we have spent the money to buy drugs, to buy sutures. There's a problem, my people. There is a problem. We have to decide what we want with insurance, health insurance. Do we want a social health coverage? Do we want a business type? And how should they be classified? I probably believe that the two will work in Nigeria. But if we are contributing money directly from our salary, it probably should fall under this scheme. And it should be made compulsory so that it can cover all workers. From there, money will trickle to those who are not employed. Public-private and public-public partnership is also a recommendation. Now, people talk a lot about public-private. I want to also recommend public-public. Okay? That's a relationship between one arm of government and another arm of government who has money. Okay? Like the scheme I was telling you, the cancer project I was telling you, is actually by PENCOM. Okay? We approach PENCOM, they approach their pension custodians to do CSR, corporate social responsibility, and they put together some money and they funded that project. Okay? So you can do, and then we're going to have an MOU that will jointly run the place. Okay? Then you can also do a form of public partnership in which staff have a stake in order for them to take ownership of the scheme. Okay? Because that's where you have problem with union anytime you mention PPP. But if you tell them that 20% of this company is going to be your own, so if you make profit, you will share 20%. Okay? So that may be another way out. But finally, let me call that those of us in the health sector, we should see it as a calling. We should see it as a calling. Because no matter how much money you put into it, if our attitude doesn't change, do you understand? Not much will be achieved. We should see it as a calling. And we should do it with all joy and gladness. Do you understand? I often cite this case of Thomas Sawyer in Mark Twain. Okay? We are all working as we are just doing it for the money. There's no intrinsic interest. There's no feeling as if it's a calling. Thomas Sawyer was said to be a very bad boy. Those of you who read Mark Twain's Thomas Sawyer. Very bad boy. And one Saturday morning, he was given punishment to whitewash the fence, paint it white as a punishment for misdemeanor. And he was doing that, and his friends, group of friends came to take him out to play, and he meant that he was serving punishment, painting the fence. And in that novel, His friends started laughing at him that you have done something wrong again and they are punishing you. He said, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Now, why are you painting first on Saturday morning? He said, this is adult job. I was given the opportunity to do it. Do you know how lovely it is? Okay? This job is a very enjoyable. I'm enjoying it. And his friends became very curious. This man doesn't like work. What is in this work that he's enjoying? He has decided he's enjoying this work. So the friends want to know why you are enjoying this work. Say, no, is it just so beautiful to be having such responsibility given to you? Do you know what it means? I'm going to decide the beauty of this house. You know that kind of responsibility? Have you ever been given such responsibility? The friends became curious. Can we take some part of it? Say, no, I can't give you that type of responsibility. Please, they beg and beg, and then they offered him some apple, some other fruits that they brought along. He did that. He was very reluctant in collecting it, and he gave them the brush. And he had not gone halfway, but they painted the rest of the wall. So it's a feel good effect. Okay, let's feel good about what we are doing. We are saving lives. You understand? I read a Facebook post by a woman recently commenting on National Hospital, and I felt good. I went to the department to thank the staff, for this. But I didn't stop there. We investigated and we dug out the case. In fact, initially, when I saw that Facebook post, I thought my staff were playing a trick on me. The exact way I used to describe that, in an emergency situation, you are facing the glass door. When a car arrives or an ambulance arrives, you should get up and move to the ambulance and check who is inside. That's what happens abroad. And then you start your resuscitation from there. If you need oxygen, whatever you need, start from there and move in. And then you continue your resuscitation before you settle the patient down in a bed or trolley or somewhere, and continue management. Call the relevant team that needs to manage that patient permanently. But you should not wait there in A&E for patient to come to you. You should go to the patient. So this description was given by this woman on Facebook to thank National Hospital. I went to ex-General Hospital, also a government hospital, I won't mention the name, at night, and I was told there is no bed. They did not even look at my patient who was in the car. They just said, go to National Hospital, without even a referral. Of course, you can't refer without looking at the patient. They came to National Hospital. She described it exactly the way I used to describe it to my staff. They came out, a doctor and a nurse. They started attending to my husband. They gave oxygen there. They brought a trolley. They said there is no bed, but the patient may have to remain in this trolley until we discharge somebody or until we can find a bed in the ward. While there, the patient was treated. She said, I'm quoting, needless to say that nobody asked me for money.
Oh my God.
I wasn't asked to bring money for card. And that God will bless the staff who were on duty in the emergency unit of National Hospital on the 22nd of June. She put the date. So, my director of public relations is here. I gave him the assignment, go and check 22nd of June. Bring out the case notes. Let's know who are on duty. Let's know whether the story is even true. We found the case note, truly. But before then, I've gone to the department to thank the staff because I just want to believe that this was not a fake one. So I believe my call to service is that we should see our duty in the health sector as a calling rather than a mere entity for food and drink. Thank you very much.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you've heard from the horse's mouth. And before he started, I thought there was a lot of money. Maybe I will need a second opinion because there was not a lot of money. Because I've had colleagues, as well your colleagues, who